What's up, y'all? It's yours truly, the Gap Tooth Guru of Gumbo, back at it once again. We out here in Henderson, Texas, at the Pressbox Media Group studio for another episode of the Gumbo Talk. Look, I apologize. I'm gonna tell you first and foremost. Last week we had the same topic, right? And we talking about tomorrow, and for some reason, 4 or 5 minutes into the episode, everything canceled. Everything dropped. I'm like, what kind of thing is Facebook doing? And I hadn't even really got into the show good. But I said I wouldn't be remiss if I could backdoor this week with the same topic, different title though, same topic, and see what happens with this airing live. So thank you once again for tuning in. If you doing it for the first time or this is the last time, I appreciate you for the time you spend. So I just want to get into it. Tomorrow may never come, as in it's not promised. But tomorrow also not being promised is not that far away. And what I'm trying to understand better for both you and me is, if we know that tomorrow is not promised, what's holding us back for living for today? You know, you can get into a whole lot of discussions with people about what's the best way to eat, exercise, worship, what else? What other things? The type of music. You can discuss all kinds of things that either bring you together, or politics, or tear you apart, right? Religion. But irregardless of which one of those things we tend to lean towards the most, is it possible that we have one understanding, and that is we only got so much time? And if you're not spending your time as wisely as possible, with all this going on in the world that we have the access to, it's almost like you're wasting time. Now, I'm not talking about, you wasting time in the sense of you spending too much time having playtime or traveling or clubbing or whatever it is. What else can you do? You could go to the casino, right?
Facts.
You can go to the strip club.
Facts.
You can go wherever. Oh, that restaurant you like every week, it's like you gotta hit it up. Whatever your thing is, right? If you were spending your time wisely, are you benefiting from it? Right? When I used to frequent this establishment, right, almost daily, because I used to have meetings and breakfasts and lunches and sit downs at this establishment, it was like free publicity, not only for them and getting paying customers to come in. I didn't take advantage of, I should have had a lot of free displays or large displays of my business or businesses, right? And I spent a lot of time doing things to help everybody, but we didn't do things, or I didn't do it with a collective mindset excluding myself. Let me say that again. My mindset was being inclusive and helping everybody out, excluding myself. You have to work for a reason. This is something we was talking about right here. I'm gonna tell you right here. This is what I'm talking about. If tomorrow isn't promised, then that means all you have is today to establish the legacy, brother. That's all you got is today to establish your legacy. So if the way you spending your time isn't wisely, you might end up having an issue with leaving any kind of impactful or positive or enlightening, inspiring legacy. Now, if you don't care about your legacy, I understand. A lot of folks don't care about their legacy, right? A lot of folks don't care about their own lives, let alone what happens after they die, right? Or when they can't move like they used to move, right? Because time got to them. With all that, is it possible that for whatever reason you want to live, you wouldn't live for today? It's like, I think about quite often what I did yesterday, the parts that I can remember, right? And I don't mean like yesterday only. I mean, like maybe I did something last week I should have done differently, or last month, last year, last decade. I oftentimes think about points where I could have made a better decision, right? And all I am is a sum of all of those decisions, whether they were healthy or not, right? Whether they were positive or negative, they were my decisions. And am I in a worse position than I used to be? Or am I better? And I believe I'm better. But more impactful to me when I think about the past and how there were some times that I spent wisely and some times I didn't spend so well, that I sum them up and it isn't a bad number. And then I get to thinking, could I have been in a better position with some of the older decisions? And the answer is unequivocally yes, but I can't do anything to change then. All I can do is change what I'm doing today. And if I'm at the helm now of my life, right? The captain of my soul, right? Just the captain. I didn't say, I own the boat. If I'm the captain of my soul, then it's quite possible that in order to be better, I got to make better decisions with my next few options. Let's put it like that. And I admit I've made some poor decisions in life, but that doesn't mean that I'm a poorly organized, or whatever you want to call it, individual. Like I don't have at least some of my shit together. I know I got some of my shit together. I ain't saying I'm perfect, but I'm damn sure ain't saying that I'm the worst. Okay, I'm done with that. What they call it, self-deprecating mumbo jumbo. I used to think that if you make fun of yourself. Now I don't mind making fun of stuff that I do or done. That's not what I'm talking about. But in order to make myself feel more, or people to feel more comfortable with me, of me talking down on myself, no, it's not necessary. because that stuff starts to seep into your mind and your whole psyche, and you get thrown off. And when you get thrown off, you don't even pay attention to time. And time is important. I mean, the topic tonight, tomorrow isn't promised. If tomorrow isn't promised, time is of the essence. And I'm not saying you're wasting time. I'm hoping that everybody that listens to this is spending their time wisely, but are you making even better choices than you did, or are you just trying to hold on to like what you got because you're in a comfortable position now? And if you just keep getting what you're getting, then you know, hey, over time, I'm gonna be in a real nice spot. I always think about occurrences, that's what I'll call them, that have happened to me this week since the last time we were here doing this. And it was just today I got a phone call to go do a job, and I was already going that direction, so I just stopped. But the encounter had a didactic aura about it. Meaning, like, I could see this one particular gentleman, he had good energy, and I could see this other particular woman had really bad energy, right? And I wasn't sure. I just assumed that, you know, that's bad energy and gone. So as we are going along this transaction, it became more apparent that this particular woman was like making dibs. What do you call it? Like what's the new slang when somebody's trying to kind of dish you? What they say? We say they dish you, but she did this. I don't know what the youngsters call it, but she really kind of questioned my swag. I'm gonna put it like that, and I looked at her and I smirked, but I had so much to say to her. I almost came out of my mouth with too short, famous phrase, but I held my tongue. But I was about to give her the too short phrase, and then I thought about it. I was like, she's trying to shift my energy, and I only have so much time here because I told you I was on my way to another meeting, and I said I would stop this and do this on my way. And then what really gets to it about talking about how you spend your time, this happened to be not too far from where I live, right? But I wasn't where I live. I'm where I'm usually at during the day, out on the loop. So I'm not really that close to where I live. I mean, in essence, if I lived in New York or LA or something, I'm really close. But as far as where I live at in Longview, I'm not that close. So for me to go close to home, it required an extra amount of time, I believe, and I charged them the full price of what my services cost, even though I wasn't that far from my crib. But the point is, I wasn't at the crib. Now, why I'm talking about time is, not only did it cost me time to do that, and I provided what my service is supposed to provide in a very professional manner, because I did not react or interact with that lady because of how she was spinning this whole thing, when I'm clearly there just to help and resolve something really good. It's usually resolved as soon as I'm done. It makes people feel more comfortable. People feel more accomplished or more complete. Usually when a document is complete for them and they can turn it in or use it whenever manner they want to use it, it feels good when you got all of your shit together, right? So usually at that time, it's really a moment of jubilee. But some people really make it like you have to take on their energy because of how they feel about it. I don't have any feelings this way or the other about it. I'm just here to do this job. And you can say thank you to me by giving me what I asked for to come. I don't need you to say thank you. You don't have to leave a review. I probably don't get reviews in my business, the notary business, 95% of the time. 95% of the time, I don't get a review. And that's good because you have quality reviews when you do something for people and they just leave one, or I even mention it. I may not even mention it, but some people would just go do it. So what I'm saying is that I come to do something and I do what I say I'm going to do. All I really require in payment of what I came to do is what I asked for. Compensation, equal and fair compensation. Why do you question another man's craft, right? And what his work is worth if you can't do it? Now, since last week, when we was here, we didn't even get the whole show out. I was gonna tell y'all that, man, I had a one hell of a week. You know, we had a dryer go out, literally just went out. But it was fun to get to go to the washateria and wash clothes. I did that by myself. That shit was like zen. I went into a place, right? I really enjoyed that, but I don't want to do that every day. So I had to get a new dryer. Then microwave started tripping. I was like, oh, that microwave ain't tripping. And then when you find out that the dryer is hooked up right, but you see water, you think that the washing machine messed up. Like, no, the washing machine can't. Checked it, no. Ended up having a leak in the wall of my bathroom and had to replace my entire bathroom at the crib. That's what happened in the past week. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I was like a Debbie Downer, right? I don't like to use the word Debbie because, you know, I'm gonna say a Donnie Downer. That's what you call it. I was kind of down on myself. I was like, damn, you know, why is all this stuff happening? But it's all happening at the house. And I'm like, okay, you gotta have this stuff, so you go get it. And that's what I did, or get it fixed, right? And you know, I'm telling you, and we're gonna revert right back to what I was telling you about. You include everybody in what's going on in your life but yourself, right? That's what we openly talking about. So with all that being said, when we came to a realization that how we're doing what we're doing could be done better. You cannot exclude how you feel about it just because your first mindset is to make sure, you know, everybody else is good. But you need to factor yourself in there because time, what's the phrase I used it before? Time is money. Money is time. And time waits for no man. If you are not spending your time as wisely as possible, doing everything you possibly can to become better, then you're probably wasting your time. And whatever way you want to put it, you want me to cut it to you nice and sweet with some butter on the toast, you probably could be doing some more productive activities other than the ones that you've chosen to do now, right? And so if you want to keep doing that, hey, you know, keep doing it. But usually when you do what you've been doing, you're going to get what you've got. I got all these cliches, right? But they do make sense though. If you start, I'll tell you another thing I'm doing, since I'm talking about you start doing things, but I'm on these books, man, about wealth, right? And brotherhood and wealth. And I'm just finishing one called The Tribe of Millionaires. It's pretty good through the meat of it. The end is not ending like I wanted to. That's why I haven't finished it. And I mean, literally, I don't have but pages left. It's really not even maybe but 4 or 5 pages. But I don't like the way it's going to end. So I'm kind of like, holding in suspense. You know, like a lot of people watch these TV shows, but you watched it, or you've heard people talk about it, but you had to stop them from telling you everything, so you know what's going on up to one point, and you got taking your time to get to it, to watch that last piece, because you don't want it to end like you think you want it to end. I love that kind of shit because I like movies, good movies. But check this out. I want to go ahead and get to the good part. So I'm just gonna go ahead on and watch it. I'm gonna go ahead on and read, which I'm talking about the rest of this book, The Tribe of Millionaires, because I got like 3 other hot books that's all about how we have to be in a mindset of the people that we are around, and that the people we're around aren't a drag on our mindset for us to grow, not only fiscally, but creatively, and you have more free space in your life to do things that you really enjoy, and refreshing or revive you, and that helps you to be more energized when it comes time to do the work, because it's work for a reason. You don't really want to do it, but who else is going to do it, right? And you were the one built, you were the one made to do what you're doing, so you got to grind, but you need to have time where you're doing things to refreshen you, so that even though tomorrow ain't promised, or you might not see it, but what if you do? So it's important at all times that what you're doing is something that's going to grow and enlighten you, and equip, inspire, invigorate, encourage, all of that stuff. Hopefully make you more focused. It will be a better day. And then you might start living for today, instead of that. Was that Divert? I don't know who did it, but I know it was Gerald Divert, and it was at the trash can. You remember this? I'm gonna see if anybody can get this. What was Gerald Divert singing around the trash can on fire? I be telling my age, but I always like to check people on 70s baby shit. Let me help you out. What movie was it that Gerald Divert was singing around the trash can on fire with his buddies?
The trash can was on fire?
Yeah, they had a little fire, the fellas on the block, they just sitting around the big barrel, the barrel on fire.
Yeah, me, man.
Oh, you don't know, Bob?
Nope, that new
yeah, it was. That's right. You got it. You pulled that one out of the bag. And the song was living just enough for the city.
When it first come on.
Yeah, when it first come on. We really adopt that. We really adopt that. But if you really look at that movie, when Nino Brown was doing his thing, he was living like tomorrow may not come, so we gonna get it all today. They was getting it all today. They wasn't cutting no shorts. You couldn't even come in there to touch their stuff with clothes on. It was that movie really taught me something about how enterprise works and how every part is important, right? And you better work out the irons in the fire, or not the irons in the fire, but the issues. I'm just gonna say that, because otherwise it might kill you. And we adopt the movie overall from his standpoint, but I'm telling you, living just enough for the city, that's probably cool if you from a city, like New York or LA or Chicago or Miami, or maybe even New Orleans, Houston, that city. But Houston is kind of country though. But like city, living enough for that probably is enough. I'm sure people in New York can see enough stuff in New York that they really don't have to go anywhere else. I'm pretty sure you got that much stuff. But if you like me from East Moline, Illinois, I wanted to see more, okay? And if I was living just enough for my city, that little 17, 18, 20,000 people, boy, that sure is some small fish mentality. I wanted to see some things. I wanted to use my time traveling and going, and thank God I got to live and be reared in Louisiana, one of the best states in the union. And then you spend that time with people, and then Texas finally gets to you. You know when Texas finally hit me that it was home? Like 2018. Yeah, it wasn't until 2018 I thought Texas, maybe 2019, I thought Texas had something. I've been here since 2002. As a matter of fact, next week it'll be right at 20 years, the 2nd of February. Huh?
I don't know nothing else, bro.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Man, but I'm not. I'm from Illinois and came through Louisiana, but Texas is home.
It's about the best place you're gonna find.
It really is.
For me.
You can you imagine? And that's bigger. That's even bigger. I want a little bit more, but even if you lived enough for Texas, that's pretty good. Because I wouldn't mind having a house somewhere in East Texas, like maybe around Palestine, somewhere out there in the country, Fairfield. You know, get you about 300, 400, 500 acres. But I'd also like a little place in Houston, downtown, you know, up there in that high rise. You know what I'm talking about, Bar? I know you've been to a party or something, live up there. You know, a little high rise flat in Houston. Why not live downtown if you don't live in Houston, really? I mean, yeah, you can get a house, all that stuff. I know it's great. But if I was to live in Houston, just like Dallas, I don't want to live in no neighborhood in Dallas.
Yeah.
The kind of stuff I'm trying to live on, the level I want to live on, man, that I'm living, man, I can't be in no house and somebody try to come in. No, you're going to have to go through 2 or 3 security guards. My place is up there. I ain't cutting no grass, but I own it. You can own, you can own them condos and whatever they call it. Apartments. They ain't nothing but a big apartment.
Living outside the city.
Yeah, but no, yeah, but you can have a little land out there in the country where you can go to it, because you got to remember that you've got a lot. Even if you don't have a whole lot of money, even if you got a little money, I'm gonna say you got $1 million or 2. You just got a little bit of money, right? Even if you got a little bit of money, even if $100 to use a little bit of money, you don't want nobody taking that. So to whom much is given, much is required. If my mindset is to live on $57 million, I can't just go live in a house in the hood, because I understand, due to life experiences and how I spent my time, that there are people who would want to take from you because they don't know how to make for themselves. I'm just talking real. This is not just new stuff. This is 1,000 years old. People running up in folks' houses. This story is not only in other books, but even in the Bible, where people was doing all kinds of wild stuff because the city was free, like they wasn't governing themselves accordingly. But that's okay. I've got to be safe, and so is mine, because you really, it's just like I was looking at the whole situation with Nip. Since I got on my Crenshaw, let's talk about it. Ain't no way, at a certain point, no matter how well I feel comfortable, even in my own neighborhood, would I be in my neighborhood if my neighborhood was Compton, California, off Crenshaw, if I'm responsible for a lot of people. Y'all are gonna say, you gonna find me outside. Yeah, I'll be outside. On my porch. I go to where I want to go, but I have no desire to go to places where my life or liberty might be taken. It's not that important. Now, I don't mean that in the literal sense. I mean that completely figuratively. Meaning that you probably thought I meant something morbid, but I'm also talking about doing things or being around people that weigh heavy on my spirit, which takes me out of character, which in essence kills myself because I've allowed outside influences to affect how I feel and how I move inside. Now, all that being said, I can't waste time being anybody else but me. I was talking to a good friend the other day. I was telling her, I said, it's really, really close to that time where I can say that what I'm called and who I am is not a perception. I don't want to be a perception or have there be a question of how I am with you or who I am to myself. I don't want that to be in question. So every day I'm getting more close. Every day. Think about older folks. Think about somebody 79, no, I'm gonna say 89 years old. You very rarely find an 89-year-old in my community not speak exactly what's on their mind. At a certain age, even that favorite auntie of yours, from back in the picnics in the 80s when y'all had family reunions, your favorite auntie, she was great. When she turned 89, 89, she tell you that, she loved you to death, but you was an ugly baby. And they mean it. They say you was a bad little mama jama. Right? And then you can't help but believe it because they kept it real with you. I can't wait for that day. I hope it comes close, but I don't want to be that way and offend people because I have a tendency to do that, and I don't know how I did it, but it happened. That wasn't my intentions, but that was your perception, and I wish that I could have apologized for it, but I can't apologize for something I didn't do. But it happens. But I can't wait till the day that I can get to the point where I can be that way and I can say that and it comes out and understood genuinely. And you understand that what you see is what you get with me, and we don't have to have a problem with that. And I'm going to tell you, that life that we live in, that time we're spending today is much better when everybody respects everybody's gangster. Whatever it is you do. You gotta respect it. And you can't get in the way of it. I know sometimes you see people, man, you do stuff and you love them, and you wish that they would do a little bit better, than what they doing, but they doing exactly what they want to do. And what you hope is that if you get the chance to spend the time today around them, that maybe, just maybe, the influence alone will help them make those decisions. Because we was talking about this earlier too. We getting close to the time where we don't have as much time left as what we lived. And even talking about the older folks, in their late 80s or 90s, or some of them in their 70s, yeah, some of them in their 20s, but I'm talking about folks that just tell you exactly what's on their mind. It's like when you get closer to that time where you don't have as much left as what you had, you tend to make decisions based on tomorrow. I mean, today, that maybe tomorrow you'll get. But it's just a maybe. It's a strong maybe. It's iffy. Whatever floats your boat, right? When it comes to how you're going to live your life today. Be thinking about not only how your legacy is going to be, right, for when you're not here anymore, but you still live on, but also how the people that you have in life now are going to be much better off with you in their life than without you in your life. If you're that type of influence, I'm hoping that you are. I hope that's not in question. But you want them to know now that you love them, right? And you want them to feel that, and you want them to experience that. So you have to give them some attention today. Give them attention. Right? Talk about the people you love, right? And then the other thing we talked about was how ourselves are important, right? And how we look at, how we experience the things around us, how we spend our time, but also how we, have some time to let our hair down and go to places that we like to go to for entertainment, and things that, that really make you feel good. Pimp C said he was smoking the skunk and popping the trunk to make him feel good. He said that, right? He always gone. But no matter what it is, okay, so yeah, we're talking about ourselves, and then we wrapped it up with talking about how all that stuff impacts the world around us, right? And that's other than our legacy, other than the people in our life, the world around us. So with all that being said, you got a lot of stuff to do when you get up in the morning. As soon as your feet hit the floor and you're able to move around, or if you're not able to have your feet hit the floor and you jump off in your wheelchair, right, or whatever, okay, you don't have no legs, right? You say walk if you only have arms? They walk on their hands. I mean, no disrespect, son, but they got whatever way it takes you to get from A to Z or A to B. You do that in a manner that you recognize that every step you take and every move you make is something that is going to be either history or is going to be history, right? And so it's really, really imperative that you spend your time wisely today. Make all them choices. Get it ironed out what you got to do tomorrow, right? But you got to live for the day first. And all that stuff that happened, it happened hopefully for our good. Hopefully that fruit or that seed will bear fruit of an expected species, right? Good fruit for you as you move along. But it's going to require you to live, right? And so live for the day. Do everything you got to do to make sure whatever one of those things we talked about, if it's, whatever it is, that motivates you. We talked about 5 different things that motivate people, and then it's real to us. Whatever you got to do to do that, you do that. And we'll be right back here next week. It's February something. It's going to be February already for another episode of the Gumbo Talk Show.